Reports were indicating that the Toronto Raptors coaching search would come to an end this weekend and the team would finally select the team's next head coach. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case, and we have the real reason as to why the team hasn't gone in a specific direction with the next head coach of this roster. So we'll break that down, including Masai Ujiri making some comments on this year's offseason and Donovan Mitchell giving some high praise to OG Anunoby. So lots of stuff to break down. Without further ado, let's jump to the first topic of discussion. The first thing we're taking a look at is the real reason the Raptors delayed their coaching search, or at least their coaching announcement, their coaching hiring, because Lewinberg, a lot of people were indicating that now that a lot of the coaches are off the board, the team has interviewed a wide range of prospects, right? We'd be hearing at least this weekend in terms of who will be heading the Toronto Raptors bench going into next year. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. Raptors fans were still left on the edge of our seats, but we seem to have a little bit of a reasoning why, and some Reddit sleuths along with some other investigative work that I've seen seem to have uncovered the reason why we don't have a coach name just yet. As you know, basically a post came out saying that according to an Italian news source, Sportando, Sergio's meeting with Toronto this weekend was canceled due to his priorities with Virtus Bologna. And I clicked into this article, and it's kind of summarized in here. The article, I don't know, I can't speak Italian, but I get the Google Translate rocking, and it doesn't really translate into anything that's super coherent there. But this guy kind of summarized that the article would be, Sergio, he had prior commitments with his current team over there in Europe, so he wasn't able to come over, and the meeting would be postponed. It'll be happen later in this week, and that was something that was clear looking directly into the article, even if it's a little bit disjointed, that this meeting will still end up happening in the next few days. But tried looking for a secondary source, as apparently the Sportando website's more of an aggregator rather than the official news sort of citing. But then we uncovered this popping up saying that according to the Gazette dello Sport, Sergio should have left for Canada already today, but a mishap at the Raptors' house postponed the appointment, which will in any case take place in the next few days. And in any case, the franchise will take more time on a final decision for a new coach. If Scariolo were to succeed, where Messina failed, obviously, back in 2018 when Nick Nurse got the job over Messina, be another pinch of pepper in the competitive rivalry of the 2023 NBA final or the EuroLeague final. So, interesting stuff there, but at least we have some reasoning as to why. When we all expected a coaching name to be announced, to be named this weekend, it hasn't happened just yet. As one of the league candidates still potentially has to be interviewed, or will have to be interviewed. Apparently, it might happen over Skype now at this point, the final talks, the final discussions, but obviously for a decision as big as this, millions of dollars on the line, the future of your team potentially on the line, even though you have that relationship with Sergio, it's good to have that in-person meeting to make sure everything is locked down and everything is in place. But we've heard the chatter about different European tacticians coming in, or Jasikevicius added to the list, Radmanovic, the assistant, Rad Jokic for the Memphis Grizzlies in the mix, Kenny Atkinson there, Steve Nash being one of the finalists. It should be a wild list of candidates Masai Ujiri has to parse through, but probably give it a couple days for him to get his final interviews with the finalists for this spot. But Masai said it. We all know it's going to happen before the draft, so I'd imagine this week would be a reasonable time to expect a head coach to be picked up. But who is your favorite to be the Raptors' next head coach? Let me know in the comment section below. But speaking of Masai Ujiri, he had some comments on this offseason that's coming up for the Toronto Raptors, and this is a big offseason for this team as we're kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere, and we've heard reports that the team is kind of directionless, as some people within the organization are of the belief, hey, we need to just run it back. Look at the 8th seed at Miami Heat team is doing. They're in the NBA Finals right now, playing as I'm recording this video, right? That's we could just make minor tweaks and run with the status quo and hopefully go on a run like that. While there's other people in the organization talking about, hey, we should blow it up, shake up the roster, make some significant changes. That was a recent report. Well, we actually heard Masai Ujiri speak out on this offseason in a little interview he had with Forbes, and he didn't let a lot loose, but basically he did come out and say that, stay tied to your phone as moves could potentially be happening. He alluded that, the offseason, there's always stuff shaking down. He's got a lot of stuff in the works. Not guaranteeing anything will happen, not guaranteeing any directions or anything like that, but said, hey, keep a close eye, to the moves that the Toronto Raptors could make. So he teased potential moves that are being done, and one thing I've seen a lot of people overreact to is he was also asked in that interview what he remembered from his previous stints across the NBA. He gave some high praise to Carmelo Anthony and Masai Ujiri, for people that don't know, spent some time with the Orlando Magic, and during that time, Doc Rivers was a part of the organization. And when asked about his time in Orlando, he talked about how he was really appreciated his time getting to know Doc Rivers and his impact on him there. So that led some people to extrapolate and believe, hey, is Doc Rivers going to be the next coach of this Toronto Raptors team? I don't know. The Raptors have been certainly tight-lipped about their coaching search at this point. Mark Stein directly said, even though we're getting bits and pieces coming out, no one really knows the full picture of what's going on with this Raptors coaching search. So who knows, maybe Doc Rivers could get involved with that. But I seriously doubt him ended up coming in, especially after another brutal flame out in this year's playoffs. But it's going to be interesting. I'm happy Masai Ujiri isn't just coming out and saying, no, we expect to, I guess he wouldn't do that in general, but saying, hey, we're going to run it back. I believe in this group. I believe in this team. I'm glad that he's at least open to shaking things up this off season, because the Raptors, they need to figure out what they're going to do rather than just chilling out in no man's land. But the final thing we're discussing in this video, and it's a guy that was a part of a lot of off-season discussions last year, and it's Donovan Mitchell, who gave some high praise to OG Anunoby. Now, people that don't know Donovan Mitchell, the Cleveland Cavaliers now, he's out east at this point, All-NBA guard, does his thing, and he was interviewed, asked about his some of the top 5 defenders in the NBA. And basically he came out and said that Drew Holiday is there, right? Lou Dort is a guy that certainly is a beast. OG Anunoby has to be in that spot. Bam Adebayo, Marcus Smart, and Draymond Green. So he basically gave 6, but OG was a guy that was one of the locks in terms of the best defenders in the NBA. And I think this is without a doubt praise. It's nice to see OG Anunoby getting some respect from his peers. It feels like in order to get those all defensive selections, obviously OG was the league leader in steals this year, made the all defensive second team, but in order to be in that race, in order to be the DPOY conversation, you kind of need guys across the league to vouch for your defensive ability. Get the reporters, get the people that make those decisions for all these awards to hear, okay, a star like Donovan Mitchell looks at OG Anunoby as one of the best defenders in the entire NBA. That's reason enough for me to vote him on the all defensive first team, even if guys on the Raptors Digest are yelling he should have been all defense first team for the past 3 seasons. So it's nice that OG Anunoby's getting some of that respect across the NBA from Donovan Mitchell. So shout out to D-Mitch, good stuff there. But folks, you guys are the best for making this far. Subscribe to the channel. We got lots of fun content coming over the next couple weeks. Some exciting stuff. As we inch closer and closer to the NBA draft, some fun things we're going to try out, back in the rock and all that sort of stuff rocking. But as always, I appreciate all of you folks. I'm signing out. Cheers.